What do you mean you cleaned it up?
Hey everyone, we are going
What do you mean you
live.
cleaned it up?
Just looking for my friends here.
We need an extension on due diligence and closing. Extend it out. Hold on a second. Let me see. Hold on one second. Because he's in Austin, he's got to get here to see it. We were about to say it.
Waiting for my friends all day to join. This is Sarah. It's my first IG Live that I'm organizing. There she is.
Hi.
Awesome. Hey. I've never
How are you?
actually started an IG Live, so I'm glad to see you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yep.
All right. Cool. We should have a
Gotta
good
set
service
myself up.
here. Yeah. I invited Idea. I hope
Okay.
I got it right. Is there any other account that I should invite right now? Is her last name K-A-L?
Just do it by foods. Either by food. That way she
Okay.
has access to that.
Perfect. Perfect. Got it. How's everything in Raleigh today?
It's a beautiful day. The sky is blue
Hmm.
and the clouds are out. And it's a beautiful day and we're managing. We're taking one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Hi
Yep.
everyone.
Hi, Jessica.
How are you? How are things with you over there?
Things are calm at the moment. You know, I was thinking about this book I read so many years ago called The Power of Now. Have you ever read that?
Oh yes.
Yeah, okay. Hello. I'm so glad this worked. My first time hosting. Yes, so that book has me just really focusing on the moment, you know? So right in this moment, everything is good, we're safe, we've got what we need. We're actually in Charlotte right now. So yeah, it's um it's really sad over in Asheville in the area. You know, we hear a lot about Asheville right now. That's the main city, but there's all these little mountain towns around Asheville that were hit also really hard. So I just want to, take a moment to think about the towns of Swananoa, Black Mountain. Um, there's so many, like Marshall. Um, there's a town around Lake Lore, like some of these, River Arts District in Asheville, just streets completely washed away, buildings washed down the river. People have passed away, so it's very heavy. This is a really, really big deal, really impactful for our community. And I know, even in local area towns that weren't hit, they're also getting a lot of folks from Nashville area coming in, looking for supplies, looking for hotel rooms, places to stay. So it's very hectic. Um, it's tough, people are on the ground with just trying to get basic needs met. We don't have water. I think it's starting to come back in some places today. Power. Obviously, schools are closed. Kids don't know where they're going to be next week. What about you guys? What are you hearing outside of the area, and how is it affecting you?
You just said kids don't know. Like, I don't know that most of us even consider, like, even actually think about that. Kids, what they must be feeling, how scared, probably how scary this whole experience is for them, um, and the uncertainty of like what is happening must be so scary. My heart goes out. I can't even imagine um, what that must feel like, and then also as a parent, almost feeling powerless because what can you do? Because you're trying to understand this too, and you're trying to work it out too. while keeping face and making sure your children like feel safe to a degree. I just can't even imagine. But on our end here, we're doing good. We're doing okay. We kind of are just trying to come together as like a collective of people, especially in the food and beverage industry and the hospitality industry, to figure out ways that we can support. I was literally just talking with Amy. I call her Auntie Preeti, but Chef Preeti, the other day, and we were like, physically, is my body useful over there? I'm not sure. You know, when there's people literally trying to figure out where they're going to stay and where they're going to sleep. And so when you think about that first, you're like, okay, well, that doesn't work. What can I do next? So we're just reaching out to our communities and finding ways of like fundraising, any way we can feed people. We're just like, that's the best we can do from where we are, is advocate, donate, cook, be a safe space.
It's amazing
Because I just
how chefs show up like that. I think World Central Kitchen? I know they're doing a lot of great work. We've got the link. I just put that link in my bio as well in our link tree. You can link directly. It's WCK, I think, .org. And they've got boots on the ground recruiting. If there's any chefs in the Asheville area that want to sign up and volunteer, they can go to the World Central Kitchen website and show up. I know the city is trying to limit the amount of traffic coming in. I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, that they're IDing cars now, and you have to show proof of residency or that you're with a nonprofit. I don't know how they're checking, but it may be happening. It's just with the road situation, so many of them down, there's no running water. So just managing like the food preparation's got to be tough right now. I know there's a lot of bottled water being passed out, but the issue too is a lot of people are at home, they can't get out, or they might not have gas in their car, so they're not even able to get to those locations where items are being donated. So I think there are people on the ground. Like if anyone hasn't heard from a loved one, you know, and you haven't been able to get through, and you need us to make a phone call or send someone out to check on them, you can also drop that in the comments. We have people on the ground who are trying to get to people who haven't, you know, been in touch because we didn't have cell service. I think that might have been one of the hardest things the first couple of days, is just not having that communication, that the lines open. There's so many layers to the infrastructure that's been damaged. It's, you know, there's, and then there's other things like trash pickups, you know. That seems like a small thing right now, but it's important too. Like trash is accumulating. So it's beautiful though to see how some communities are showing up. And, you know, one of my friends, she said every night they're doing a potluck in their neighborhood where they're just, one house is hosting it and they'll just bring what they have and make what they can.
It's like the ultimate version of Chopped. The ultimate of us finding creative ways to feed each other with what we got in the pantry. Yeah, very beautiful to see the community. We have some things happening. We're trying to work with the Southern Smoke Foundation.
Tell us about that. I'm not familiar with their work.
Yeah, so they are based out of obviously the South, and a lot of what they focus on is like mental health for those who are in the food and beverage space, and also any sort of like, they provide grants for anything that may happen and the support that you need. That's basically it. They just want to support those of us in this field, because I don't know how many people know this, but we really don't make that great money. Like if you are like a line cook or a server, a hostess, or you work within this field, most of the time you're getting minimum wage, or if you work with some restaurants that actually give a damn. They work incredibly hard to make sure you can have a living wage. But that's far and few. A lot of us try to do that work to make sure we can compensate people fairly. We don't have health insurance. That's like not a thing that's really offered. So many more restaurants. Someone that I admire so much, who is like a mentor to me, Chef Ashley Christensen, has built this beautiful system with her restaurants, AC group. Like, it's amazing. I tell her all the time I want to be like you when I grow up, because it's a beautiful thing to see someone who actually cares. Um, so Southern Smoke Foundation does a lot of work to connect the dots, you know. So they focus a lot on mental health because we need it in this
That's
industry.
the big one right now too. I think that's something we're not maybe talking a lot about yet. You know, I think it'll come in the next couple days. Right now, it's been like basic needs, but mental health is a basic need, right? So it's like, how are you staying? How is everyone staying grounded and present, and like, you know, putting your oxygen mask on while you're helping others and all that. And then there's this thing of like, I've been seeing a lot of people posting in Asheville Mama's Facebook group, like feeling guilty because they left, and like there's that kind of survivor's guilt happening for people who aren't there. And then like you were saying before, should we go? Like, how do we get in? What do we do when we're there? Where do we stay? Um, so, I mean, I know you both have overcome so much too. Like, what are your mental health suggestions and tips in times like this?
It's a great question. Uh, I think um, it's so hard to say when you're in survivor mode. Like, people just want to survive right now. So we have to get through that first. Um, I keep going back to like parents. I'm imagining what like a mom. I'm imagining myself in this situation
Yeah.
and trying to keep my daughter safe and myself safe, and how am I going to feed her? I can't even think past just making it work to be like, where's my mental status? You know, I just can't even imagine people are checking in with themselves in that way in this current moment. Um, and honestly, I don't even know what to say. I we just have to go through it. I don't know what to say really to make you feel better.
Yeah,
And I really don't. I just want to hug everyone.
Right.
I know.
It's nice to hear though. The you mentioned a friend who was in her cul-de-sac with her community doing dinners and kind of turning it into a potluck with bring what you can. I mean, I think that is probably the best solution is just staying in touch and staying tethered to the folks that you're around and ensuring that your basic necessities are being met. You know, it's hard to be able to kind of focus on that higher level of like how am I taking care of myself when, you know, your basic needs like shelter and water and things like that are in flux. And so it's hard. I mean, as someone who's lived through many hurricanes in Florida, you definitely just need to stay in touch with folks who are nearby and make sure that they're getting by with what they have, and of course with your family as well. So
Yeah, I know. I've seen, you know, I'm starting to look for that, the footage of hope, right? We've seen a lot of traumatic, like really sad images on social. You know, I'll never forget. I mean, it was like the first couple days we didn't see anything. Like I woke up, I mean, my husband drove into Asheville and saw what was happening on Friday, you know, firsthand. But we didn't know, I didn't know right away what had actually happened, like the severity. It was just the power was out, you know, and there were trees down. So, and then when we started seeing these images from photographers and news, and I mean, it's a lot to look at, and I'm starting to look for those like rescue stories and the inspiration of community coming together. And I know, you know, parents, myself included, looking for just ways to bring some joy to the day with our kids, like little moments of finding a reason to laugh. And I think I saw Mitch joined. I saw Mitch from Earth Fair might be in here. I saw he posted on LinkedIn this morning about just looking for the silver lining, and it may be a little soon for that for some people, um, but it is part of the survival and recovery process. And just like sleep, right? Trying to find like some ways to rest and sleep because it is like another friend of mine said, this is going to be like a series of marathons to recover. We cannot sprint through this. It's going to be slow. We don't know when schools are reopen. There's, in terms of the water, like the Asheville City water system relies on Swannanoa and Black Mountain. It's completely like they need to rebuild the water system. They're bringing new pipelines in. We're a little better off up in Weaverville. We've got a different water system. So that could take a lot of time.
Mm.
I know the other issue right now is people are needing to either barter or use cash. And ATMs aren't really working. Sometimes they are. Some of them don't have cash. So it's like just paying for things. It's tough. I think this is showing us how fragile the system is and maybe what we need to do to prepare for situations like this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best we can do is continue to show up for each other. That's it, you know? And do something, whatever that may be. Whether it's donating your time, doesn't have to necessarily be money. Your efforts could be your energy. I think that's the best that we can do. We have some things in the works in the next week that on the 8th, which I believe is that a Tuesday? October 8th, will be me with.
I have no idea.
I know the days just blend together.
What day is it?
We will be in Raleigh at the Rialto Theater for the premiere of and screening of A Fine Line, which is a movie that talks about a documentary that talks about women in the kitchen, and there's about 7% of women who are actually head chefs in this industry, just 7%.
Wow.
So it kind of, yeah, it kind of talks about all of the different experiences that we have, and then some of the change makers that are doing something about it. So there are local chefs from here who will be at the screening. We'll have some bites. We'll watch the movie, and then we'll have a panel, and all of those proceeds are going to Southern Smoke Foundation. I have an event happening the following week in Durham where we will also be donating to all the efforts to organizations that are trying to make a difference there since we can't physically go. So those are ways you can support. You can come.
Thank you.
and eat some food
Amazing.
and still be in community and still help those of us who are in need currently.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's beautiful.
October 8th is next Tuesday.
It's next Tuesday. Okay.
So,
And what's that location again?
That's in Raleigh. So if you're in Raleigh, come. The tickets are in my bio as well. But it's a way for you to experience something. You can experience these different foods. You can watch this movie and kind of understand some of the systemic things that some of us women in this industry are working to break down. And then you can also help. That's a way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure there's some folks from Asheville in Raleigh too, in hotels and Airbnbs for the week.
Oh, that's nice. Would also say,
I think that's one of the things. Oh, glitchy.
oh, losing you.
Are we back?
Still there.
Real time. Oh, there we go. Now we see you again.
Okay. I was just gonna say that it's really, do you remember when everything shut down in March 2020? And, thinking about the kids, that was only a little over 4 years ago. So these kids have seen a lot. I mean, and I think the difference here is that it's a small community in this one region, whereas like the rest of the world's going on like nothing happened, as they should. And it's just, we still got regular emails coming in and even phone calls, just some people don't know. Um, my husband, Eddie.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
This actually what?
Yeah. Eddie Delaney. He's a realtor in Asheville.
I'm going back there now.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Okay.
Be safe.
Uh,
Yeah, he's heading back to check everything out.
Okay.
I have my earbuds
safe travels.
in.
That was so sweet. There's nothing more loving than a forehead kiss. That's what you really feel it, you know?
Going to like scope out the area with like a disaster relief group, or like how is he going to be able to like suss out the situation?
Yeah, actually, maybe he can speak to that. Sweetie, do you want to talk to a couple questions for a minute? So,
Alright. So, all right, I took my earbuds out. What was the question? In
Oh,
terms of,
just curious about like hopefully when you go and suss everything out, you're able to do so safely. So I was just curious if you were working with a disaster relief group or someone that some group that's able to like take you there safely to kind of suss out the situation.
What do you mean?
like, how to evaluate the damage and vehicles with properties and things like that.
Oh, I just go and I don't know. I just go and do it. I got friends who are volunteering it all over the place right now.
Okay.
I know people who are bringing in supplies all over the place.
Firemen.
I'm friends with firemen, EMT workers, policemen. Um, they're a big part of my like micro communities.
Sure.
So, and I know property inside and out. So just
Right.
just going to assess, and I'm probably gonna go grab a bunch of cases of water and some diapers and some cat food and some dog food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have gas tanks at the house. So, but it looks like things are turning on sparsely. Um, people are getting electric back, people are getting water back in different parts. But it's a long road ahead.
Yeah.
So, super sad. And, I don't know. I'll just never forget what I saw.
Mm.
Talk about that at all.
I just saw devastation firsthand. It was completely in shock with what I was witnessing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I was in New York on 9/11. This is worse.
Wow.
But we'll recover. So, stronger, better. I don't know about better, but just pray for the ones who need it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really grateful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even.
This is worse on a scale of like, I don't know. This is so.
Yeah.
It's
People
just
have like things to return to after experience something, and so it's
wild. It's totally wild. But be good. Be well. Be safe.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a different level, I think. the destruction, it's crazy. He saw the water was up to the highway in downtown Asheville. You know, he knows people who watched neighbors like wash by in the river, guys.
Just found out one of his realist guys that I know was dead.
He just found out one of his
He went floating down the
realtors.
river on his roof, him and his dog.
Yeah, we're starting to hear reports of people we know passed. So that's just heading, that makes it that much more real because there's a lot of people missing,
Right.
and now the water's come down. So, and
Just hard.
yeah, I mean, Asheville was named one of the safest towns in America to live for a lot of different reasons. Part of it being climate, natural disasters. A lot of people didn't have insurance that they would need to cover this kind of damage too because we're not on the coast.
Right.
So we wonder, how many breweries and restaurants and different businesses will decide to rebuild.
Yeah.
Some will, some will relocate. Some people will leave temporarily, or maybe they won't come back. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll definitely recover. And you guys know I'm sober, and I wanted to speak to that community too. Right now is just I'm so grateful that I have a program of recovery and I'm sober through this. I think this is a time when addictions can be heightened. Everything's heightened, right? Good and bad. So thank God, we have a clear head and clear mind. And but I have a lot of compassion for people who are struggling with drugs and alcohol and other addictions. I do want to say it is an anonymous program, but I did learn that there's some AA meetings in person coming back already in North Asheville.
It's awesome.
So there's a few happening already. If anyone wants to know where those meetings are, send us a message and I'll put those, we'll comment back with the list.
Yeah. Sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's
got to be hard when you're not in the area and you're like, a lot of people are asking, how do we help? How do we help? So we mentioned World Central Kitchen. Eddie mentioned a lot of us, we just know people. They're like, hey, here's my list. I need one of my friends this morning was like, we need 25 orange jackets to do wellness checks downtown, kind of random things. So Jim was on. But yeah, I think if anyone's an animal lover, Brother Wolf, they need donations. They're doing animal rescue, providing food for animals. I know there's an international water relief also coming in. Beloved Asheville is doing great work right now. All their boots are on the ground, so they're probably not answering phones or anything, but check out their website. Their Instagram's active right now, Beloved Asheville.
Right.
We feel good about money sent to them. I think all of it is going to programs.
Yeah.
And be careful out there, donating. There's some organizations. I always like to ask, what is your administrative cost in terms of the percentage of donation? I like donating to nonprofits where at least 90% or maybe more is going to the programs, because some nonprofits keep a lot for overhead. And right now we're just trying to be hyper local about our donations.
Right. Yeah. The links that I add to our bio are when you go to their website, and you click on donations, they ask you if you want the donation to be made for your market for her relief, which I think is super important because a lot of these orgs do a lot of great work, but it's important that donations are going toward her at the moment. So
I agree.
What are the storms that you survived in Florida? What did you do in those situations?
oh man, it sounds weird to talk about now because it's feels like it's just a part of my childhood, and it's not like I I've never lived through a storm like, this, like Helene or like Katrina that has like wiped out, you know, entire like cities and suburbs, and things have gotten very bad, of course. But I guess in a strange way, I look back of those times in a weird fond way because you have no choice but to like rely upon family. You have no choice that, to kind of like bond with your siblings when you have no power for weeks on end. And so in a very strange way, those times kind of made you really like sink into community. And so seems weird to call that the lining, but this is a really transformative where um, you have no choice but to kind of look at one another and take one another. And so, yeah, a lot of different ones. And I was a lot younger, have a lot of memory being outside on like, gas because, just for weeks on end, all you would have were able to get some gas. And yeah, like all of the things that are gone now, the structure like going to school every day and things like that, like, kids are brilliant. So, a few weeks out of school won't be, there's an upside to that. um, but yeah, like super important to lean on one another and know that there are brighter days ahead, and it'll take some time to get there. But yeah, just staying together is super important.
Absolutely. Um, well, this is obviously not like our regular lives. We're not talking business. I don't think that's really the time. It's just how can we show up for everyone? Are there, if anyone is in the western part of North Carolina, my friend Jason has, and I can share this on my Instagram as well. He will be making stops. He has tapped into his community. Lots of the farmers in this area who have not been affected have donated like produce and proteins and things like that, and he's just going to drive that way and post up and figure out ways to feed the community. I think that's all we can do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I saw the French Bread Food Co-op downtown Asheville is open now, and they just got a delivery from Happy Dirt. Happy Dirt's a distributor, I think, based in Raleigh,
In Durham.
Durham.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We love
So
Happy
they
Dirt.
just came in. I saw UNFI truck was coming out of Asheville a couple days ago, probably delivering to Whole Foods. Maybe, I don't know if Earth Fair's open. I got to shout out like Publix grocery store, freaking amazing. I mean, that place was open on Saturday. Day one, they were the only one, like up in Weaverville. People were coming from all over Haywood County. I mean, Publix has showed up, Harris Teeter has showed up.
Wow.
So, yeah, I saw FedEx, UPS trucks. We started my fulfillment, the warehouse that we ship orders out of. They're ready to ship, but USPS isn't picking up yet. So Henry, bless him, like showed up Monday, his own choice, his warehouse, started packing orders. They're sitting by the door, ready to pick up. They're based out by the airport. The airport's open. Flights started 2 days ago. We have a demo ambassador. She was at Warren Wilson College when this happened. She was able to fly out 2 days ago to be with her family. So we still have UNCI students, I think, on campus. They're all being asked to leave. They're being evacuated. Same as Warren Wilson and Swananoa.
Yeah, I really hope a lot of the universities there are still, I guess, able to receive resources for some of the students who don't have a place to go.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Gosh, there's so much to think about.
yeah,
There's so many layers and so many pieces to think about, and how to maneuver through this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard this morning Airbnb has a fund right now. I don't know exactly how to access. I'm going to call later, but they're offering some free housing now for people affected. So if anyone's listening who doesn't have I mean, that's an issue. Like, not everyone has the funds to just leave their house and go get a room somewhere. A lot of hotels are full. That gets expensive. So definitely reach out to Airbnb and see if they have any free lodging.
FEMA will pay for your expenses, hotel expenses.
FEMA's, if your house is damaged, FEMA has a fund.
No, and they'll pay for your hotels.
And they're paying for hotels, Eddie said.
Lodging.
And the SBA also has a fund right now that's open. So the FBA. All right, FEMA and SBA, two different things. SBA, I have like brain fog. SBA has a fund for
dramatic. I think that's okay.
Yeah. Small businesses can apply for emergency funding through the SBA now. They're going to ask for financial statements, taxes, things like that. Similar to the COVID relief fund. I don't know what the total budget is, but yeah. I know in Asheville, like Mountain BizWorks is a resource. They send out a newsletter with up-to-date resources.
It's really important. But
Meter's expired.
And Sarah, how are you feeling?
Tired. It's a full spectrum, of just total gratitude. I'm trying not to feel like any guilt for being okay, and being in this category of people that can leave. Our house wasn't damaged. Like, it could have been so worse. For my family is healthy, safe. So mostly gratitude for that. But I got to be real, like, there's fear. What's going to happen to our city? Is it still going to feel like home? Are people still going to want to come visit? Are we going to have any accounts? Like, 50% of my business was in Western North Carolina for Sarilla. But we're also diversified. Like, I have other regions that I can sell into. We also sell online. I'll be okay. My husband will be okay, figure it out. Like, he always pivots. He'll, my son's totally chill. Like, and I don't know what's going on. Like, I just took him to the bins at Goodwill today to try to find this little, like, normalcy. Like, that's what he likes to do, go thrifting. We went into Goodwill, and we were talking about next week. Like, we don't know where we're going to be. And I asked him how he feels about not knowing, and he said, okay. He goes, what's the reason we would worry? Why would we waste energy worrying? And I mean, that's his attitude. I don't know how he really is. Mostly he really needs social time with his friends, and that's what he just misses, his friends. But everyone's okay. And he went through the pandemic shutdown of, like, that isolation period was not fun for any of us, right? Not having that personal connection. So
yeah.
it's just shaky, I feel shook up and a little, like, edgy, just kind of like, also like a little impatient with outside influences of people that just don't know and don't get it. And it's like putting everything in perspective, like unsubscribing to all these newsletters. I'm like, I don't care about that anymore. Like, what matters most?
Yeah. Wow.
And I also imagine feeling like balancing this sense of, man, this is like crazy. Your entire world has just been flipped upside down, but also, what does my financial stability look like now? And then how can you sell right now and not feel weird about that when people have died, people have lost so much, yet and still you need to survive this too, and you have to work. I I can imagine the feelings and the frustrations from trying to balance all of that.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be
Bye.
back later tonight.
Okay. Love you. Yeah, I mean, we are signed up for a trade show next Friday, you know, and like different events outside of Asheville. We've got one coming up with you in Raleigh. And I will say, people are like, you know, you can just cancel, but I want to keep doing those things. Like, I wanted to see you today. I had a Zoom meeting yesterday with someone, you know, it actually feels good to like touch in on kind of regular life. And so I need to stay connected to the outside world. I think we all do. And yeah, I mean, that's an interesting issue you brought up. I know someone posted in a Facebook group the other day, like they were criticizing, I won't name the brand. There was a water brand like selling water, and they were criticizing them, saying you should give it away. And they're like, we're a business. Like they weren't jacking up the prices. It was their regular price. But I get it. You know, it's like people are expecting the donations, but small businesses also are trying to figure out how to survive.
Yeah. Many
Yeah.
layers.
So many.
So many layers for everybody. You know, Brad and I were talking a few days ago because during this time we were in Hickory because our film was screening, and we couldn't even. Brad went in a day before me, um, and got to his hotel, checked in, and told me later on there was no power, so I couldn't even check in
Oh, wow.
to the hotel room. Um, the entire almost for 2 days, maybe 3 days, there was no power over
Hotel?
there. Yeah. And then our film screened on Sunday, and we we won an award for it. And I'm like, I can't even post. Who cares? You know, who cares about your little award? You know what I mean? Um, but that award came with a prize, and we've decided to donate that as well. But it's just, you know, this dichotomy of finding joy and moments of joy and peace through these
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
Still
Yeah.
having.
Well, I want to say, there's, it's so beautiful getting messages from people I know in Rwanda. They're seeing this in the news.
Wow.
And these are folks who survived the genocide of 1994. And I am so grateful to have those relationships. And not to, for anyone out there who's feeling badly about like feeling sorry for themselves or struggling when you think about someone else, like trauma is trauma, right? Regardless of like it can be big for you and big for me in
Yeah.
different ways. And so I think sometimes people say, oh, you know, I feel bad because I have so much now compared to those people or whatever it is. It's, you know, I've learned a lot about trauma. There's little trauma, big trauma. It's all relative to each
Yeah.
individual. But to hear from people in Rwanda, like, you know, it means a lot because they know, like, they know what it is. You know, one of my friends reached out. She's like, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I've seen pictures, like streets just washed away. And then, you know, I asked how she was doing, and there's a new virus there, which is like highly contagious and deadly. And I didn't know. I'm dealing with my own stuff, and I didn't know they have a new virus. I haven't seen it in the
Right.
news. Like, I haven't even heard of this. I had to ask ChatGPT what it was. there's a lot going on in the world every day. We have no idea, but it's just a reason I think I'm more motivated than ever to be doing something that makes a difference, that we're solving a problem, that we're looking ahead at, like, these weather patterns are changing. How can we create more resilient, physically like resilient communities and homes? How can we live off the land more? How can we do more with regenerative farming, with partnering with agricultural programs that are renewing resources? The technology's out there, and I think, you know, whether you believe in climate change or not, like, the weather patterns are getting crazy.
Yeah.
And so we need to make some changes in this country. And so I'm all in on regenerative farming. And it's funny, not funny, but last Thursday, the last event I went to was in Asheville. It was the farm to market event, or land to market event. Hickory Nut Gap was sponsoring it. We had some amazing brands from around the country come in, regenerative organic farmers. And that's what we were talking about, how that system can help reduce the impact of climate change. So, you know, better for the planet, better for our bodies. We talk a lot about ingredients that you're cooking with, and, you know, your culture, your home culture, like getting back to the roots and what our ancestors did. And I think that's what this is all about, is getting back to the basics and taking a lesson from our ancestors that maybe some of us have forgotten.
It's a great point.
Many great points.
Yeah.
Things. I hope that as you like continue to move forward and like and recover, I hope that you're still finding time to like take care of yourself every day to do. And just like you mentioned, like already the other challenges of like, you know, being so, also continuing to like care for your family and your like husband and your children, like that you're still finding something for yourself every day as well.
Wow, I just poured myself a Sarilla. That's what I'm drinking right now. This is nourishing for me. Yeah, we have plenty of Sarilla over here. I'm just trying to get better sleep. My sleep's been so bad, but I think that's just like heightened, like weird dreams, really weird dreams. But I appreciate that, yeah. And I think being a parent, having kids that need us, actually makes it easier to show up, because there's more at stake. You know, I don't have the luxury of just like sitting and like in self-pity. Like, he's watching me. He's watching me. And, you know, I think, gosh, my son is so wise. I feel like he's almost more emotionally mature than me, maybe. So we're in this together, and I love to witness his experience with everything. Yeah, I think our kids are going to be okay. I feel for the parents who have babies. I don't know at that level, you know, and with no water, just the logistics too. You know, I know Eddie mentioned diapers. It's like, God, do you remember those early days? I mean, I have a friend who's expecting. I don't know if she's on, but I mean, some moms are expecting soon. I think you just want to be settled, right? And like grounded and nested and have everything you need. And there's so much washing involved.
If there was anything that you think we need the most right now, what would you say that would be?
Ooh.
Or in what ways can people far and close show up and support right now?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is energy, you know, a lot of it is energetic and love and holding space in whatever way that means for you, for our mountain town. And then if you really have the desire to financially contribute, I think the organizations we've mentioned, I think it's really like, for me, I'm just very passionate about like moms, you know, so I'm following Asheville Mamas on Facebook group. We're keeping a list of what they need. I think Beloved Asheville also is, it's the food and water programs we've mentioned. But like Eddie mentioned, it's a lot of this is really localized, and it's like if you know someone, you know, for me, I live in Weaverville, so it's like I know in my town what they need exactly, and they've got like a community center open for donations right now. It's just hyper local. They probably don't even have a web page to donate to. But yeah, it's, you know, I know another person on the ground, he's got like ATVs, and that's huge right now. If you know someone who's got like vehicles that can get to parts of the Lake Lore area, Swannanoa, Black Mountain, there's still people trapped. Those roads are gone. Like there might be a need for donations for the helicopter evacuation, because I don't know if they're doing that for free. And I hope so. You know, I know there's a lot of helicopters in the sky right now. And in the next week or so, we're going to be hearing, you know, more generators, more helicopters, things like that. My son just came in. We're doing an IG Live. You want to say hi? Okay. But I mean, what you're doing in Raleigh is amazing. I appreciate that. Like, that's beautiful.
There's so many people doing that. Even Auntie Preeti from Cheney, Durham is hosting a cooking class, and all those proceeds will go to some of these efforts. Like, because you think about how many restaurants, how many businesses, you know, how many homes too are just kind of washed away now. And my heart really goes out to small business owners who maybe or were already hanging on by a thread, you know, and now this, like, how do you come up from that? How do you survive? How do you keep going?
Yeah.
From that?
I'm holding a vision for next week, I hope, to start doing more, creating a fund for small business owners. I think that's going to be the next level of need. Once people are marked safe, then it's going to be, okay, business survival. And yes, people are going to apply to SBA and hopefully get some loans. But if they don't have insurance, I would love to help create a small fund, you know, any side, a big fund, for local business owners to tap into, to get their feet on the ground, to buy some time, maybe to rebuild, maybe to get a new lease in another neighborhood. So I plan on reaching out to the Chamber of Asheville, Mountain BizWorks. Venture Asheville is a program. I'm very connected with a lot of entrepreneurs there. We have a mentorship program through that Hatch Innovation Fund in Asheville, and seeing if we can put something together.
That's beautiful.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Because really, entrepreneurs, right? You guys are both entrepreneurs. I read a stat. It's 1 in like 8 people, 1 in 8, maybe 9. So what? I don't know. 85% or so of the population has that entrepreneurial mindset. We're problem solvers. Like and entrepreneurship can help solve these big problems, whether it's climate change, poverty, natural disasters. So I want to do whatever I can to support that entrepreneurial spirit and to make sure that local entrepreneurs have the support they need to keep building. And maybe there's something else that they've wanted to do, and maybe this will bring new solutions to life that weren't even visible before.
That's a great attitude to have.
Yeah.
And we're here for whatever you need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You just keep letting us, like, keep us posted. If there are ways, if there are other ways besides what we're doing currently that can be of help.
He
I
was
mean,
poking his foot in.
his
So.
socks and his feet made a
That's
special
all we were gonna
appearance.
say.
Yeah, it was like a choreographed dance, you know? I was like, oh, this is cool.
We were we were happy just for their foot.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Um, yeah, I think just, you know, just keep letting us know how we can show up and what needs there are and what we can do from here. I can't imagine, you know, really what all of y'all are feeling. And please know that our hearts are with you and we want to do anything we can to help,
Thank you.
Yeah,
really.
and keep us posted on exactly what you just said about the small business funding help. I then agree with you. I think innovation time is super important. You know, to think about how like the next sort of efforts are going to be more sustainable. So
Yeah,
yeah, keep us posted.
for sure.
Thank you. I'm really glad that we kept this scheduled today. This is the first time I've really talked on video or publicly about what's going on, and I feel just really safe with both of you. And I know there's people watching, and a lot of people will come in and watch. And I'm grateful for technology right now, for social media. Really, it gets a bad reputation sometimes, but look at this. Like this, social media right now is helping to keep people connected through this time. So I'm excited to see you in a few weeks
Yeah,
in person.
I can't wait.
And I really mean it. If anyone's listening and having trouble staying sober or looking for meetings in Asheville, or any moms, looking for supplies, anyone really, send us messages, and I will definitely be replying to all of them myself today.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us hold this space with you.
Thank you.
Yes. We love you
We love
and
you.
keep being safe and keep us posted on all of the things
Okay.
and what we can do.
Okay.
And I'll keep you posted too on things that, you know, as especially as Jason is traveling and trying to figure out where it's safe to stop. I'll keep you posted on that in case you know people who need the food that we can connect to.
Okay. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Of course. You guys have a beautiful day.
Sending love.
Talk soon.
All right. Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
I love you too.